So, you know, I guess one question I want to ask is okay, here I am, I'm grieving, I'm sad, I'm depressed. What are some practical ways of dealing with that? Other than, you know, running and watching more Netflix series or numbing ourselves, you know, like
yeah, absolutely.
you
Great
mentioned
question.
before.
Yeah. I think if it's okay, I'm going to jump with this one, and then Corinne can probably build up from what I talk about. I would say one of the biggest things that I've been encouraging everyone to do within this time is to just, you know, very practical. I mean, I can go, you know, we can always talk about different clinical stuff, but what can I do? Tell us, what do we do? And this is going to be absolutely ridiculously simple and yet not simple, because it takes intentionality. And you got to start with a schedule. You got to look, what am I looking forward to in my day? What would I normally have done? Even if I'm unemployed, even if I'm at home, what would I normally do? I normally would get up. What time am I getting up? If you're getting up at 10, 11, 12 o'clock, but you were normally up at 6, 7 in the morning, we got to get back into a schedule or a routine that will allow us to create normalcy within our life. Okay. The challenge, of course, with that is that this is where, if we have issues like anxiety, depression, grief, loss, all these terms that we've talked about, it can create an immobility within us that creates us from being mobile and being able to move forward in a healthy, functioning way. But one of the ways we can start is just take, you know, it's kind of a concept I call just get up, take 2 steps forward, and maybe let's go to my book or my calendar or my phone, whatever I do that I would normally schedule with. And let's just write my schedule out. Lunch, dinner, I got to do homework with the kids. I got to make a phone call to my friend tonight. Let's something that I can look at and go, oh, this is something I can look forward to. I'm going to call my buddy tonight. You know, oh, hey, it's game night tonight. Looking forward to that. Let's intentionally do this. And that will then allow a normalcy within our lives. That's something, by creating a schedule, we can now control. That is now up to me. If I choose to do that, now I'm in control of at least something within my life. And since I'm wired for that, why not also control the ability to connect with other people? Now I'm taking positive steps forward to be able to now deal with what I'm dealing with. And rather than just going, what do I do? What do I do? Now I can take some small steps forward and begin with that.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Corinne, do you want to speak into that?
I do. This is so much of what we do. I could probably talk for days on it. And this is, I like it because it's the meat and potatoes of what we do, whether there's a pandemic or there isn't. And so I just really want to thank you, Pastor Dave, and our church with the May challenges. Those are fantastic. Physical exercise, it doesn't matter how much. Maya.
Right.
Yes, I saw your pictures on Facebook. That was very good.
Yeah, I'm trying.
And it's so good, right? Because when I'm not feeling well, if I'm feeling really emotional, I'm not okay, one of the first things I need to do is to move my body, kind of clear some of that anxious energy so that I can have a clearer mind and I can evaluate a little bit better just what's going on for me. So for me, that's absolutely vital. I love also the second week challenge. I don't know what the other 2 are, but gratitude. Awesome, because what that does is it takes our minds off of all the negative, I can't, I'm frustrated, and stuff, and directs my eyes to the things that I'm really thankful for, the people I'm really thankful for. And, you know, for those of us of faith, right, when we are out for a walk and we see something, we're like, wow, you know, I'm so thankful for, you know, how the trees, the buds on the trees, I've been walking a lot. I've been seeing every day how there's more and more green. And I go, oh, it moves me to then worship and thank God. Look, thank you for this, the green, spring, the bird song, whatever that is. And then it's just, an easier leap into worship, and it redirects our eyes away from that negative stuff that frankly pulls me down, into much more hopeful, thankful mindset, right? And when I keep myself down into this negative mindset, what I actually do is I create a stress response in my body. And we know that with a stress response, it shifts the blood flow in our body. We know that, right? And it also shifts the blood flow in our brain. So we prioritize a stress response, a survival reaction, and it keeps me from thinking clearly. The blood actually is less actively moving around the prefrontal cortex, where I have complex reasoning and problem solving and executive function, planning things out and actually following through, right? Yeah. And at the end, I love what Jeremiah is saying, do something, right? Step out, just do something. Doesn't have to be huge, right? At the end of the day, you can look back on your day and go, look at me, I did that. That feels good.
Yeah. No, very good. Like Jeremiah said, some of these things are simple, but we need to be intentional about it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I know how much just physical exercise has helped me during this time. I have a goal, it's a goal I set a while ago before COVID came, but it has been a blessing to be able to get out and to exercise even in my basement. Has made a huge difference. So now, of course, things change every day, and it seems like whenever you turn on the news, there's new news. One of the new things that we're going to be facing, of course, is things are opening up, and even this week, things are opening up, more things. And so some people are excited about that. They're going, woohoo, finally, I can step out and do things I haven't been able to do before. But of course, then there are others who might be a little more hesitant about that. And so I guess I want to ask you guys, what are some things that you can do when it comes to stepping out of lockdown, especially if you're dealing with some levels of fear about doing that?
No, that totally makes sense. First of all, I think it's important that we evaluate how much of it is fear and how much is actually realistic. If you have health concerns, if you have a lung condition, and you are considered a vulnerable person, is that really fear or is that wise, right? So first of all, I think it's important to say, I need to accurately sort of look at my risk, right? And then it is important, sort of like what Jeremiah was saying in terms of taking a step, right? Doing something. If we stay here in lockdown for too long, what can happen is that we get into an anxious mindset and we have isolated, and then avoidance becomes something that makes our anxiety even worse, right? So we have to be careful. It's like always when I'm talking about coping and this kind of thing, it's like some, but not too much, right? Like some sleep when we are sad is good, right? Helps us regulate and that kind of thing. Choose our emotions and our activities well, but not too much, right? If you're sleeping 14 hours a day, that's probably too much, and it's going to fuel a depressive cycle, right? Going out some, but not too much. Maybe people want to take their own, like make their own plan, take their own sort of gradual steps, right? And see how they do with something. So I tried something and, oh, this thing really scared me. Okay, take a step back. What do you want to do with that? Try again. Don't stop, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so those little steps are very important. And like you say, we can't stay stuck in anxiety and fear because that will just create more anxiety and fear.
And stuck and trapped feelings. That's not good either.
Yeah, Jeremiah, do you want to speak into that at all?
Yeah, definitely leaping off with what Corinne was saying. how do we get unstuck from being stuck, right? Well, it's again, looking at the things practically that we can do to control the situation or the environment that we might have to be in that we don't have control over. And so some of that might mean some education. Some of it might mean going on the Alberta Health Services website, AHS website, and taking a look. What are things? How do I actually properly wash my hands? Okay. How do I put on a mask properly? All right. If I'm going to wear a mask, if that choice has been made, making sure it's the proper kind of mask and that it's actually put on properly. Hey, if I'm wearing gloves, if I'm doing stuff like that, do I actually know how to properly dispose of a glove, to actually take it off rather than just pulling it off? You've just contaminated it yourself from doing that. So those are practical things that you can do to help support yourself to be able to alleviate in the natural, practically, those things, issues of fears or anxieties. Along with that, and this is again the work that Corinne and I do, is then we also have to be very mindful of what am I feeling inside. And if I'm like this, then it's like saying, well, dude, you need to breathe. I am breathing. No. Let's split that up. You are shallow breathing, which means that you're only connecting to what we know as this part of the brain, which is our emotion center. All right. We have to intentionally fill up. I call it a brain balloon. Okay. I use a balloon as an example. If inside of my brain is a balloon and I'm fear and anxious and stressful, it's all empty. Well, if this is a balloon, it's not blowing up. It's putting air in it, but it's not enough to blow it up. I have to fill it up so it connects to both the emotion and our prefrontal cortex, which is where our logic, our calm, caring side comes into play, and connect the two together. So that way I can go, oh yeah, I just got to be aware about my touch points throughout the day, making sure that I'm staying calm. Everyone else is having to deal with this. I'm not the only one having to deal with this. And as soon as I come home, let's say from buying groceries or from my day at work, I immediately take my shoes off, go to the sink, wash my hands with soap and water, maybe change my clothes, so that if that's a fear that I deal with, then put on a clean set of clothes. And if that helps, then do it, because that's a practical thing that you can do. And then put the stuff in the wash and dry it. Just real practicality. But I'm still calm. I'm still centered with myself. And I will always add with what we talked about earlier, for those who do attend ROVC, let's also remember that we do have those things like scripture to remember that I have not been given a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Yeah. Sound mind, I believe, connects both the emotion part of our brain and the prefrontal cortex of our brain. That's so important and powerful when we recognize or have a revelation of that.
Yeah, very good. And so that almost leads us into, one of the questions that we had talked about, when we sort of brainstormed this. And, how can I use my daily devotions to improve my mental health? And so, I talk about devotions a lot. It's kind of a hobby horse of mine. And but it's not just the opportunity for us to read the Bible, find out more about scripture, say a few prayers here and there. There is some real benefits, emotional and mental, to devotion. And so Corinne, why don't you speak into that?
Yeah.
Well, you know that both Jeremiah are on the worship team. So you know that we like worship, we like the music aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to come back to something that, and you do that. I want to come back to something that you were just saying, Jeremiah, about shallow breathing versus deep breathing. Kind of what he's talking about is us activating our vagal nerve. Okay, so the vagal nerve starts in the brainstem and it wraps around so many of our internal organs, including our larynx. Okay, so when we sing, when we worship, okay, we are breathing more deeply than that panicky breathing, right? And we are also activating our larynx, even if it's a joyful noise. It might not be,
Might not be too joyful for others who are listening, but working for us.
Exactly. And so that actually calms our body, which is really great. And the other aspect to worship is that it focuses our mind where it needs to go, right? I have a playlist on my Spotify, and it's usually a lot of my favorite worship songs that we've done in sort of like the last year or so. And I was sort of looking through it the other day, and so much of it is around calming anxiety, right? And we did, I think it was Matt Redman song not all that long ago, and he talks about how praise, counteracts and fights against anxiety. Well, that's my point, right? When I'm in that place, that's the playlist that I'm playing, right? It focuses our mind so that we don't sort of stay stuck in the of what could be, or regrets that I had in the past or whatever, but on truly, God's promises to us that he is our strength and our refuge. And Psalm 91 is amazing. And it talks about how, no plague will come near your home. Well, wow. All right. Like that, I just find that so powerful.
Yeah. So certainly having a time every day where we get alone with God and spend time in worship, in the Word, and be fed that way, refocus that way. I'm reminded of the scripture that he will keep us in perfect peace. And that word perfect peace is actually the word peace twice. It's double peace. It's like a double. But our mind needs to be stayed on him. And so that's one advantage of a devotional time every day. Is it gives us an opportunity to reset, focus our mind, our heart, our affections on God. And so, Jeremiah, I don't know if you want to share anything about that.
Yeah, really not too much. I actually like your double concept there, because when you think about it, when we are, I think really when we talk about devotions, it's allowing ourselves to be creative in who we are and what we enjoy doing. So if you like having a double, then have a devotion in a double. Create a 3D moment. Oh, I like that. That was a new one. So create a 3D moment, I love that, and do it. If worship is your thing, then do some worship, read some word. If you're in a state of, again, let's say we're breathing, taking a deep breath in and out goes, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Just remembering those mindful techniques in however creative capacity we want to do, right? Rather than just having this religious, I must just read the Bible and just read it. Oh, no. We want, maybe more of my Bible background, but we want the Bible to read us, And so one of the ways, if that means having, your double, then go for it, be creative. Don't be, if you're not a morning person, then do your devotions at night before you go to bed. Some people, that's what helps them, because their brain, as soon as they shut their eyes, it starts spinning and going, oh my gosh, tomorrow I've got to, no. Today, this moment had enough worries of its own. Let's not worry about tomorrow. Let's just focus on this moment right now. And maybe the evening is when you actually need to amp up some of your prayer and devotional time.
Yeah, no, it's really good.